I think the reason I had put it so high was because I was like, this is like the ultimate revenge movie. Like this takes every revenge movie and just amps it up to 11.
What's up, YouTube? Drive-By Movies here. My name is James.
My name's Blaze.
And never have I ever seen I Saw the Devil, the 2010 horror thriller directed by Kim Ji-woon.
I Saw the Devil is about a secret agent who exacts revenge on a murderous serial killer that he has a vendetta against through a series of traps, escapes, and releases. James, so I've seen this movie in the past. I know this is a pretty intense movie now that you've seen it. I would love to know what you thought about the film, though, being that like it's taken you, I guess, a while since the film I think was originally released in 2010. Mm-hmm. How did it stack up? This is a very violent film. I'm kind of curious, like, how did you see like the violence in this movie in 2020? Because this is 2010, a 2010 film.
Yeah. I mean, violence-wise, it wasn't anything too shocking compared to what you and I have both seen in other horror films, but I can definitely see like the revenge aspect and a lot of the violence and like its very realistic approach towards it can definitely turn off a lot of people, especially if they're not used to this style genre of horror film where, you know, I'm not saying it's like torture porn, but like there's a lot of torture scenes and none of it's like for fun, gore, laughs or anything, you know, it's just really hard to watch, creepy moments and everything. But as for a movie as a whole, I've actually been really interested to see this movie since I think 2011 or 2012, because that's when you first saw it. I don't know if you remember, but I don't know the exact place, but you were really drunk and you had just seen it and you were just talking about this movie and how much you loved it and stuff. And I remember you're going by like kind of the whole plot and you're going through the twists and turns throughout the movie towards the end of the movie.
I ruined the whole movie or what?
You didn't ruin the whole movie, but I remember you telling me about some of the drama that goes down at the end and stuff. And I was really interested. And I remember like, you know, always meaning to check it out. And I've always wanted to. And I remember a couple of years ago, Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard, directors of Your Next, or writer and director of Your Next, they were going to helm a remake for it. I think that's stuck in development hell for whatever reason. But yeah, with it being Halloween time right now, I really wanted to check it out. And I honestly really love this movie. This is actually one of my favorite films I've ever seen. Like never have I ever to check out classics and stuff. And while this movie is like a classic to a lot of horror enthusiasts, a lot of people do recommend it. Like I'm just like already saying like this is probably one of my favorite movies of all time and is a classic in my eyes.
Yeah, it definitely has a vibe. Like I wouldn't say it has a classic vibe, obviously, but it definitely has a vibe where the story is so tight knit and it definitely does something fun with a story that we see all the time. You know, like you see, I guess you can also mention from Korea, Memories of Murder, or even from the US, a film like Zodiac. And you see these serial killer type movies. But this takes the whole serial killer type movie and spins it on its head. So basically, if a serial killer really messes with the wrong person, you know, he accidentally, or I mean, it's not really an accident. He just blatantly kills a secret agent's wife, like an FBI agent's wife, essentially. And then that guy and his, father-in-law is the police chief. They're like, you know, all right, let's take off the gloves. Let's handle this on our own, and really just put this serial killer through living hell. It made like it's a really violent premise, obviously, but this film really amps the violence up to 11. At least when I rewatch this movie now, 8 years later or whatever, it felt like this movie was so much more violent than I had remembered. I was actually even kind of like shocked at times. I'm like, whoa, this movie is crazy. But I really enjoyed it, even watching it again for the second time.
Yeah, there's been a lot of scenes. Like I remember one of the scenes that always creeped me out the most was about like when this movie came out. It was around 2010 or 2011. I was introduced to a movie called Frontiers. I think it was a French film, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's a foreign film, but I always remember like there's an ankle cut scene in that movie that always like traumatized me. And then seeing it again in this movie, like I kind of felt a little bit more prepared, but it still catches you off guard. But there's like I've never seen a serial killer murder that like I just like enjoyed watch get tortured throughout this movie. Like just seeing Kim like descend into madness throughout the movie, and just like it's kind of cool to see like them being polar opposite killers at this point. Like, you know, the main killer, he's got so much to live for, but he's throwing it all away. You know, he has a son, he has a mom and dad who care about him, but he throws them all away, and he's a disgusting, filthy human being. And then we also have Kim, you know, he just lost his fiance, and then like spoilers towards the end, it's an old movie, but you find out he was unaware that his fiance was pregnant, and when he finds out towards the end, he just like loses it once again. Like it was already hard for him losing the love of his life and seeing his future father-in-law in pain, but then the fact that he finds out that he had a child to look forward to but was taken away from him, just seeing like how crazy he gets, and then like seeing like, you know, like, of course, like I wouldn't it's not technically justified, and I don't condone any kind of epic or crazy violence like this, but, you know, it's still satisfying to see what's due, I feel like, for this horrible serial killer. Like this is one of the most grotesque and terrible characters I've ever seen on screen. Fantastic performance, but yeah, I
think that's really why like I put this film so high at the time. You mentioned me talking about it, I guess, in 2011 or 2012 or whatever. I don't even remember that conversation, so that's kind of funny. But like, I think the reason I had put it so high was because I was like, this is like the ultimate revenge movie. Like this takes every revenge movie and just amps it up to 11. Yeah. You know, and I felt like even rewatching this, like that it solidifies that this is probably like the most insane revenge movie. Like the violence is just very gratuitous. But if you're into that, if you're a horror fan, like this film really definitely delivers. So this is like the best Just Desserts movie I think that there is. Mm-hmm. I think that even the story is really well done. Like you said, there's twists and turns throughout the movie that really keep you engaged into the story. It is a 2 hour and 30-minute movie, but I feel like the runtime is justified.
Yeah, it went by really fast for me just because it was gripping once the story really gets going. You know, I loved the cat mouse chase scenes early on, but then after like, you know, the second time of Kim catching Jang and letting him go, like I thought really that was going to be the end of the movie, but no, there was still 45 minutes left in the movie. After their epic fight in that mansion that they're at, like I thought that was the climax of the movie, and then it goes into so much crazier scenes after that, which really caught me off guard. And then like seeing other serial killers and then seeing what's due to them and stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed The Last House on the Left when I first checked that out. I thought that was a really good revenge movie where I just really wanted to see those murderers and rapists just get torn apart and get what's due to them. I still have always wanted to see I Spit on Your Grave, but I haven't got around to that. But like, I'd still say though, like, you know, there's plenty of other action revenge movies out there, like John Wick and stuff, but like this one just like takes the cake and stuff, and it's just so fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. You mentioned before, but this scene that I really had to look away rewatching it this time was that ankle scene. Just destroy. Oh, dude, I don't know. That just creeps me out. Like just the ankle, like Achilles tendon. It just seems like something that's so like you need it, you know, obviously to walk, but also it just seems so delicate. And then just seeing someone just break it in two. Oh man, that was tough to watch. Yeah,
it really was. And I mean, like I said, 2.5 hours floats right by. It's a horror film for sure, but it's not really going to be a movie that like keeps anyone like jumps, or it gives you no jump scares whatsoever. There might have been like one in there, but it's definitely more of just an edge of your seat kind of thriller. Definitely would throw it in the horror genre, but like, I loved it. And like, you know, things that I would have changed, not a whole lot. I mean, I'm curious to see what Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett would have did with it, but this movie is fantastic on its own. I don't think it'll ever like feel outdated. I think this can age on gracefully for many decades to come. And Yeah, like I mean, the look of it looks fantastic. The cinematography is great. I would have liked to see some like wider shots, like but like another Korean film that I really loved that you and I both saw recently was Burning, and even though that was more of a thriller, also not really a horror film by any means, like I loved a lot of the wide long shots and stuff, and I would have loved seeing some of the landscape shots like that in this movie. This movie felt very claustrophobic and tight. Like I watched on Tubi TV, free with ads. I was a little that, so it made the 2.5 hour movie like 2 hours and like 15 minutes. But I was like, is the app like zooming in or something? This feels very close up. But no, I think just the movie was shot that way. But it's still fantastic though.
Yeah, and something I wanted to mention about this film was a lot, like, because there's so much violence, like, there was a lot, like, the Korean censor board censored a lot of the film for the initial release. I know that the US release was the entire film, but I guess Kim Ji-woon was really upset with the way, like, that it was released in Korea. I think eventually he might have got it to, like, the point where he didn't have to put in other scenes and, like, take out some scenes, but he appreciated the, the release that, he could release it in America. It was, unrated or whatever. But something that was interesting was that Arnold Schwarzenegger watched I Saw the Devil, the original cut, obviously, and loved it so much that he basically brought Kim Ji-woon to direct The Last Stand, which is a movie that they did together. I haven't seen The Last Stand, but I thought it was kind of interesting because I know that some Korean directors have come over to work in the States because someone liked their work, or even it was financed from the ground up. But we've seen, I think Chan-wook Park had directed Stoker. That was a film that was produced here in America, or maybe it was in the UK. But yeah, it was cool to see that like Arnold Schwarzenegger was such a fan of I Saw the Devil. It just kind of seems crazy.
Yeah, no, like I remember when that movie came out, looking up the director, I was like, oh, it's the director of I Saw the Devil. And I remember hearing people, like a few friends saying that like, oh no, The Last Stand is tight, but I never gave it a shot. But maybe like now's the time. And honestly, like on my letterbox, I added pretty much all his movies to my watch list now. Tale of Two Sisters is definitely probably the next one for me. But a lot of his other movies seemed really interesting. I remember seeing like a spaghetti looking Western movie on there that looked pretty trippy, and so I'm stoked for that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie and can't say like enough how much I enjoyed it.
I think that's the good, the bad, the ugly, and the weird or something.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's their homage to spaghetti Western. I know A Tale of Two Sisters is supposed to be his best film, and I haven't actually seen that one, so we should probably check that out at some point in time.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool time. But yeah, I really appreciate it. I think this was such a really fun watch. Definitely recommend for everyone to check it out if you haven't seen it. If you haven't, a good way to help support the show is by watching it through our Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. That's a good way to help support the show. Do that, leave a comment, and let us know what you thought about the movie.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button to show us some support. Also, guys, you can subscribe to us by clicking that button. And if you click the notification bell, you can get all of our latest updates.
And also, if you can't get enough of Drive-By Movies, we are also brand new to Instagram, and we also have a Twitter. Check out those links in our description box, and we'll also see you guys next week with a brand new video.